everyone, welcome back to Pabbly. In this video, we're going to learn how to create or update ActiveCampaign contact from Cashfree payment. So I am an owner of a skincare brand, and using Cashfree, I collect the payments from my customers who are purchasing the skincare products that I'm selling in my business. And I use ActiveCampaign as a CRM in my business. Here what I want is that as soon as many of the customers, a new payment is going to be done using Cashfree and they're going to purchase the products that I'm selling, I want to create that customer as a contact in my ActiveCampaign account so that I can manage the data of my customers. Now doing this manually is very time consuming. So what I've done is I've simply automated this entire process with the help of Pabbly Connect, which is an amazing automation and integration software. And here in this automation, I'm going to build a connection between Cashfree payments and ActiveCampaign with the help of it. So if you also want to learn about this amazing automation process step by step, for that, let me take you to my screen. In this video, we're going to learn how to create or update ActiveCampaign contact from Cashfree payment. So as an owner of a skincare brand, I use Cashfree to collect payments from my skincare products and services. And I use ActiveCampaign to manage my customer relationships and marketing campaigns. To enhance my workflow, I've automated this entire process of adding or updating a contact in my ActiveCampaign whenever a payment is going to be received from my customer using Cashfree. This ensures that every customer is instantly added to my CRM, categorized based on the purchase, and enrolled in targeted email sequences without any manual efforts. And I'm going to create this amazing automation between ActiveCampaign and Cashfree with the help of Pabbly Connect. So on the screen, you can see the website of Pabbly Connect, that is pabbly.com/connect. After browsing this website, we need to sign into our Pabbly Connect account. But if you're a new user, you can sign up for free and get 100 free tasks every month. So as I'm an existing user, I'm going to sign into my Pabbly Connect account. After signing in, you can see the All Pabbly apps in front of you, in which you can see all the products that Pabbly provides, from which we are going to select Pabbly Connect by clicking on this Access Now button right here. Then Pabbly Connect's dashboard is going to appear in front of you. In order to start an automation process in Pabbly Connect, we need to create a workflow. For that, click on this top right corner button right here that says Create Workflow. A dialog box is then going to appear in front of you, which is asking for the workflow name and for us to select a folder. So for the name of my workflow over here, I'm going to give it as Create or Update ActiveCampaign Contact from Cashfree Payment. So this is the name that I want to give to my workflow, okay? After that, it is asking for us to select a folder. So on the left side of my screen, you can see I have created multiple folders in my Pabbly Connect account, from which I'm going to select a specific folder in which I want to save this workflow in. For that, click on this drop down. These are the folders from which I'm going to select Cashfree Automations as the folder I want to save this workflow in. After giving the name to the workflow and selecting the folder, I'm going to click on this Create button in order to create a workflow. A workflow is created in the name of Create or Update ActiveCampaign Contact from Cashfree Payment, and you can see that there are two windows in front of you. One says Trigger, other says Action. So what is Trigger and Action? Trigger and Action are the two most important steps of our automation process because our process depends on these two principles. Over here, Trigger says when this happens and Action says do this. That means what is action? Action is a response towards our trigger. In an automation process, there can be only one trigger step but multiple action steps. We are going to set up our trigger step first. And for the trigger application over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select it as Cashfree. As with the help of Cashfree, I'm collecting the payments from my customers who are purchasing the skincare products that I'm selling in my business. I want that as soon as by the customer payment is going to be done using Cashfree, the trigger over here in this workflow should capture the response of the payment. That is why for my trigger application, I've selected it as Cashfree. Now for the trigger event over here, I'm going to select it as Payment Via Form. As I have created payment forms in my Cashfree account with the help of which I collect the payments from my customers. So that is why over here for the trigger event, I've selected as Payment Via Form. After selecting the trigger application and the event, you can see that Pabbly Connect has provided us with a webhook URL. Now using this unique webhook URL, we're going to build a connection between Cashfree and Pabbly Connect by following the steps given here below in the help desk. So firstly, I'm going to copy this URL from here. After copying the URL, log into your Cashfree account. This is my Cashfree account, you can see right over here, and my Cashfree account is on the test mode, you can see right over here. In the similar manner, you can connect your live account, live Cashfree account with Pabbly Connect that I'm going to tell you right now, okay? Now to connect, from the left side of the panel over here, go to the developers section. Under developers, you can see an option in the name of webhooks. Click on the option right over here. Landing towards the webhooks page, over here from the panel, go to payment form. After coming to payment form, click on this add webhook endpoint button right here. For the URL, paste the webhook URL, click on this test and add button. As soon as you're going to click on this test and add button, what is going to happen? Cashfree is going to send the test data towards this webhook URL right over here to check whether this URL is working. Okay, so I'm going to click on this test and add button. As I'm going to do that, over here the status comes as success. That means the test response has been forwarded. For that, I'm going to go back to my workflow and scroll down. And as you can see right over here, the test response has been successfully forwarded towards my workflow right here. In place of this test response, I want to capture the response of the test payment. So I'm going to recapture the response. Click on this yes button right here. You can see it is saying waiting for webhook response. So firstly, I'm going to go back to my Cashfree account and add this webhook URL as this URL is working. So I'm going to click on this add button right here. As I'm going to do that, it says webhook added successfully. As now the URL is added successfully, over here it is saying waiting for webhook response. So now to check whether Cashfree is successfully connected to Pabbly Connect or not, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the test payment with the help of the form that I've created using Cashfree. And after doing the test payment, I'm going to check whether Pabbly Connect captures the response of the test payment being done or not. Okay, so these are all the forms that I've created using Cashfree, with the help of which I'm collecting the payments, from which I've created this form over here in the name of Natural Glow Face Toner. You can see right over here, and using this link over here, I'm going to collect the payments for the Natural Glow Face Toner from my customers. So I'm going to copy this link from here to do the test payment and open it in a new tab right over here. So this is the form using which I'm going to collect the payment. Firstly, over here, it is asking for the customer's details. We're going to fill in the required details. For the name over here, I'm going to write it as new account. Okay. For the email over here, I'm going to write it as new account @pabblytudes.com. For the phone number over here, I'm going to enter a dummy mobile number. It is asking for the address. So for the address over here, I'm going to write it as 11 Old City. For the city over here, I'm going to write it as Bhopal. For the state over here, I'm going to select it as Madhya Pradesh. And for the pin code over here, I'm going to write in a dummy pin code. Okay. After filling in all the required details, I'm going to click on this pay button right over here. It is asking for the payment method. I'm going to select it as card right over here. I'm going to select this dummy card from here. I'm going to enter the holder's name as new account. Okay. And then I'm going to click on this proceed to pay button right over here. It is asking for the OTP. So I'm going to enter the dummy OTP right over here. As I've done that, you can see over here it says payment successful. As now the payment is done successfully using Cashfree, I'm going to go back to my workflow and scroll down. Over here, you can see the response of the payment being done using Cashfree has been captured in our trigger. The order amount comes over here, the order amount. This is the order ID, status comes as paid. This is the transaction ID, event date and time, you can see right over here. The name comes as new account, phone number of my customer is right here. This is the pin code. This is the state, that is Madhya Pradesh, city as Bhopal, address as 11 Old City. If I'm going to further scroll down, email comes as new account @pabblytudes.com. For the product over here, that is Natural Glow Face Toner. Okay, currency is INR, and this is the form ID using which we have done the payment. As now the response of the payment being done using Cashfree has been captured in our trigger. This means that Cashfree is now been successfully connected to Pabbly Connect and our trigger setup is done. Now, as a trigger setup is done, if I'm going to go back to my Cashfree account, I'm going to go towards the form page of my Cashfree account. You can see over here, these are all the forms that I've created using Cashfree. Now, whenever by any of the customer, payment is going to be done using any of the forms that I've created in the Cashfree, over here, the trigger is going to capture the response of all the forms payment, okay? But in this specific use case, what I want is whenever the payment with the help of this form that is in the name of Natural Glow Face Toner is going to be done, then only what should happen is this workflow should be executed further. Now for doing that, what we are going to do is we're going to set up our action step, in which for the action application, I'm going to select it as filter by Pabbly and action event as filter values. Then I'm going to click on this connect button. Using this amazing feature by Pabbly, we can filter out the values and we can execute this workflow according to our condition that we want. Okay. It is asking for us to select the label. In the response over here, you can see in the previous response, I've already told you we have received the form ID. Now this form ID is different for all the forms that I've created. You can see right over here. So this form ID is a unique ID. So I'm going to select the label as the form ID should be equal to the value. This is the form ID over here using this form over here. So I'm going to copy the form ID from here and I'm going to paste this value of the form ID right over here. Now, whenever a payment using any forms that I've created using Cashfree is going to be done by the customer and the trigger is going to capture the response of that. Now, after capturing the response, whenever the form ID is going to be equal to this value, then only this workflow is going to be executed further. Okay, so that is why we've added this filter. So I'm going to click on the save and send test request button. Status comes as success and condition comes as true over here. Okay, now as the filter is added, now what I want to create this customer have done the payment as a contact in my ActiveCampaign account. Now for that, we're going to set up our action step. And for the action application over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select it as ActiveCampaign. And for the action event over here, I'm going to select as add or update contact. Then I'm going to click on this connect button. A window is going to appear in front of you on which click on add new connection, or else you can select the existing connection that you already have. Okay. After that, it is asking for the API key and the URL. Now from where are we going to have the API key and the URL? For that, log into your ActiveCampaign account. So this is my ActiveCampaign account, and to have the URL and the API key, from the left side of the panel, go towards the settings option right over here. After coming to settings, under settings, go to the developer page right here. This is the URL and the key. I'm going to copy this key from here and paste this key right over here. Okay. After that, it is asking for the URL. For that, go back to your ActiveCampaign account. This is the URL. I'm going to copy it from here and paste this URL right here. In the help desk, it says without the https:// So I'm going to remove this from here. Okay. And then I'm going to click on the save button right over here after adding all the details. As I've done that, you can see ActiveCampaign has now been successfully connected to Pabbly Connect. After connecting over here, it is asking for the email and all the other details with the help of which we are going to create a contact in our ActiveCampaign account. So for the data of these fields, what we are going to do is we're going to map the data. What is mapping? Mapping means inserting data from the previous step. So we're going to insert the data from the previous step of this workflow. And how it works is that as soon as I'm going to click on it, you can see these were the previous steps. As I'm going to click on this Cashfree payment via form, this was the same response that was captured in our previous step. And I want to create this customer. I've done the payment using Cashfree as a contact in my ActiveCampaign account. So for the data of this field, that is the email, I'm going to select the data of the email from my previous response. As I have selected the data from my previous response, the data is mapped. And as I have mapped the data has now become dynamic. That means now whenever a new response is going to be captured in our previous step, the new data is going to be automatically updated in place of this mapped data. Next, it is asking for the first name and the last name of the contact that we are creating. Now in the response, we have received the name of my customer, but in the response, we have received the first name and the last name of our customer all together. It is asking for the first name and the last name separated from each other. Now for doing that, we are going to add another action step to this workflow. And for the action application over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select it as text formatter by Pabbly. Using this amazing feature by Pabbly Connect, we can format the text according to our requirement. For the action event, I'm going to select it as split text, as I'm going to split the first name with the last name. Then I've clicked on the connect button. I want to split the name, so I'm going to map the date of the name in place of this text to split field right over here. Okay, it is asking for the separator using which unit we are going to separate these two values. I want to separate these two values, the first name and the last name, using the space between the name over here. So over here it says for the space as separator, use this code right over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this code from here and paste this code right over here. Okay. Next, it is asking after the separator, it is asking for the segment index. I want both the first name and the last name. So I'm going to select the segment index as all. And then I'm going to click on the save and send test request button right here. As I'm going to do that, the first name and the last name are split from each other. Now we are going to use these values in order to map the data. For the first name over here, I'm going to map the data of the first name. And for the last name over here, I'm going to map the data of the last name right here. For the phone number over here, I'm going to map the data of the phone number that I've received. So I'm going to map the data right over here. This is the phone number. Okay. It is asking for the tag ID, which I do not want. So I'm going to skip the part. For the list, I'm going to select the list in which I want to create the contact in. For the account ID, you can select the account ID according to your requirement. I'm going to skip the part. It is asking for the job title, as there is no job title, so I'm going to skip the part. Okay. Next, it is asking for the additional details. Now in place of the additional details over here, I want the address of my contact that I'm creating. So I'm going to map the data of the address that I've received right here. This is the address line 1. comma, space. I want the city, comma, space. For the state, I'm going to map the data of the state right over here with the pin code, okay? Now, after the address, I also want something else, that is the product name. So I'm going to map the data of the product name as well right here, okay? So for that, over here, I'm going to map the data of the product name that I've received. If I'm going to scroll down, this is the name. So I'm going to map the data, okay? After that, it is asking for the service interested, which I do not want. So I'm going to skip the part and simply I'm going to click on this save and send test request button after that. As I've done that, we have received a response, which is a positive response. So now I'm going to open my ActiveCampaign account. This is the contacts page of my ActiveCampaign account. I'm going to refresh this page from here. As I refresh the page, you can see over here a new contact has been added in my ActiveCampaign account with the name over here as new account. You can see right over here, email as new account @pabblytudes.com with a dummy mobile number. Over here for the additional details, we have received the address and the product name. You can see right over here. As now a new contact has been added to my ActiveCampaign account, this means that we have successfully created an automation between Cashfree and ActiveCampaign with the help of Pabbly Connect. So now to sum up till now what we have done, I am an owner of a skincare brand and using Cashfree I collect the payment from my customers and I use ActiveCampaign as a customer relationship management platform. Here what I want is that as soon as by the customer payment is going to be done using Cashfree, over here the trigger is going to capture the response of that. That is why for my trigger application I've selected it as Cashfree payment via form. As the response of the payment is going to be captured in our trigger, I am going to use the details of my customers to create a contact in my ActiveCampaign account, and for that I've set up this action step in which for the action application I've selected it as ActiveCampaign and action event as create or update contact. And using Pabbly Connect, I've built a connection between these two applications in this manner. So this was it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Not just with these applications, you can create automation between multiple other applications with the help of Pabbly Connect. If you have any questions, you can contact us on support@pabbly.com. If you have any queries, you can check the queries on forum.pabbly.com. And if you have any pricing related issues, then you can check out this link. If you like this video, please do subscribe to our channel, hit on the like button, comment on if you have any questions or doubts, and please share this video.